Hey everybody, it's Eric Meyer from Instructor Summit. I love teaching people data. I love teaching people who don't know anything about data and help them bridge that intimidating gap, which we all have. Unless you're a mechanical engineer that is very familiar with what we call squiggly lines, which are these things right here in a wonderful post by Sean Finnegan. You're pretty overwhelmed, and especially if you're older, if you're a legacy instructor, you didn't come up through this stuff. Guys, more and more new drivers, and especially younger drivers, are getting exposed to this. So it really behooves you to know a little bit about it. You don't have to be subject matter expert. You don't have to be super guru. But I'm telling you, I'm going to help you learn it, and it's easier than you think. And uh, and I say this because I teach a ton of people this stuff, and a lot of instructors. I enjoy doing it. It is if you want to learn more, get a hold of me. I'm at Instructor Summit Facebook page or instructorsummit.com. And let's get started. So what are we looking at here? Well, this thing right here, this thing you're looking at, the industry calls that squiggly lines. And what it is there's a couple of graphs right here, and I want to show you what that looks like. We're going to make this red right here, make it a little easier. What you have here in almost all cases is an axis here and an axis here. And we don't have to be super gurus to understand this. All you need to know is right here is 0 feet, because it says zero distance, and we also see that this is a distance right here, and we see this is represented in feet. We can also see that if this is 0, that means that this is start finish line right here, which means that this is start finish line. So all this is start finish line. So we can see here there's this goofy squiggly line, and I'm going to suggest to you that when you see a shape like that, that's mile per hour or speed. And if you just kind of look at it, you go, you know what, that kind of makes sense because here we are going really, really fast. And we know it's fast because it's up here. This would be faster. This would be slower. This would be a slow corner. Guess what? Slow corner. So if this is 0, I want you to see this. I'm going to kind of go medium fast here, so I'm not going to bore you. If this is 0 right here, this means that this is start finish, start finish, start finish. Well, what would this be right here? And what would this be? And take a look. It's kind of a loaded question. Well, if this speed goes down, this has to be turn 1. What does it make this? What does it make this? Please note that the speed of this right here and the speed of this right here is pretty low. Matter of fact, this one looks lower just a little bit by this one, right? And I say that because if we draw a line right across here, they're about the same. What corner would that be, right? If you know VIR, you know that. So that's what I do. I go, hey, what's the, when I figure this out, what's a really high speed, and it's almost turn 1 in a lot of tracks, and what's low speed? So you can literally use this speed trace right here to sort of figure out, oh, that's what I'm looking at. So do that the next time you look at squiggles or squiggly lines. The next thing I want to show you is a throttle trace, right? And when you see a line that looks like this, whoopsie, come on, baby, what's going on? When you see a line that looks like this, and it's flat, and it's flat, think throttle flat, think throttle flat. Flat, right, and flat, and flat. Gang, that's throttle, or a wide open throttle, or 100%. And almost all of those traces, and this is a trace, and this is a trace, and this is a speed trace. We're not going to talk about this right now. In almost all cases, when you see something that looks like this, that has a flat across the top right here, oh, come on now. Come on, I lost my little, there we go. When you see this up here, that means we're wide open throttle. So, or it also means it's throttle. So we see throttle, we see off throttle, we see slow back to throttle, 100%, coming off throttle. Looky here, we're slowly being patient, going to throttle, coming off throttle, right? Modulating some throttle and then going to 100% throttle. This is a throttle trace. So when you see that shape, this shape right here, you go, oh, that's throttle. Well, take a look at this. If you're not throttle, right? If you're not, that's throttle, right? And if you're not throttle, right here, what are you probably doing? Well, if we look right down here, losing my fancy cursor here. If we're not throttle, which is here, not throttle, I'm going to go over here. Look what's happening. The speed trace is going down, so that must be what? Brake. Well, look at that. That brake corresponds to right here. Right? Is that making sense? And you also see that as we're going on speed, big braking right here, big braking right here. Look at this. Big braking right here relative to this one and this one. And why do I say big braking? Because look at the height of this right here. Gosh darn it. I'm having software problems. There we go. Because look at the height of this, right? Okay, getting tired of this crazy software. What's going on here? Show screen brush. There we go. Because this is very high relative to this one. So this would be less brake, and this would be less brake. And that makes sense because right here, we're going really high speed, so he's jumping on the brakes, right? Is that making sense? So, very short conclusion, or a very short summary. This shape right here is throttle. And in this case, this shape, and I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, this shape right here, which typically kind of goes up on the first part and kind of sort of like does this, which is a great example right here. That shape right here, it's like a cliff and a slope, is a brake pressure trace, right? It's what your feet are doing. This is what your brake foot is doing, right? And this is what your throttle foot's doing. And if you look right here, that's what's happening right here. And if you look right here, this is what's happening right here. It's going up. So the next time you see one of these squiggly lines right here, don't be intimidated. Look at it a little bit. Remember this easy rule of thumb. That's throttle. That shape is typically brake, and it corresponds with a braking event, right? In this particular case, there's two lines right here, with one being this blue line. If you look at it up close, this would suggest, because this is distance, remember, this is distance down here. So if this is farther down the track, right? This is closer to start finish. What you see right here is this blue line. It's actually coming off throttle before the red line. So what are we doing? We're coming off throttle early, right? We're not braking, because this is the throttle part right here, right? We're coming off throttle early. We're lifting off our right pedal, and then this is the brake. So it just so happens that this corresponds with coming off throttle earlier, and braking earlier. So here's where the red line breaks right here. And see this little indicator? It's a little X. Do you see that? If I could zoom in on this, I would. What this is, it's pretty much standard for all software. Is anytime you see something like this, there's always values, and the values are right here. So I'm going to do a really easy one and show you this. So here's our indicator right here, right? Kind of our cursor. Sorry, I'm having software issues. Our cursor right here. So there's a couple values. There's this one. There's 2 right here. There's 1 right here. There's a blue one right here, right? And both of these are 0 on throttle. But what I want you to see is this. See this right here? There are 2 speed values. If you go right over here, here's how you interpret that. See that? The red is faster at 142 and the blue is at 134. Well, look at that. Of course it is. The blue is slower. Remember, this is higher mile per hour than the red. So this right here corresponds to this right here in values. Is that making sense? And you'll note over here that both of these are the gas, and right here we're off the throttle for both of them, right? That makes sense. Off throttle because we're braking. Gosh darn it with the software. I apologize, gang. Both of these were braking, right? Both of these were braking. Both of these were off throttle because we're braking. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you understand the squiggly lines. Gang, this stuff is not as intimidating as you think it is. You don't have to be an expert, but at the same time, you don't have to avoid it because this right here is pretty universal in all the software that's out there. Apex Pro Harry's lap timer. It's called a speed trace. You can do a ton with it with your client. This is a more of an advanced channel. Not a lot of folks have it. That's brake pressure. What's your brake foot doing? And this is throttle. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps clear this up. If you want to know more, I'll put a link in the bottom to some beginner videos that I purposely try to make it super, super easy for new folks to go, I understand this stuff. Because that's half the battle. Before you learn this, you got to do some elementary stuff, and that's the purpose of beginner. Because Sean can talk anywhere from beginner to advanced, and this is kind of intermediate, which, quite frankly, probably intimidates a lot of people if they're brand new to data. I'm Eric Meyer. Hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to more videos on this playlist, and we'll talk to you soon.